can start with the class.
Okay.
Recording?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Technology. So wasn't it incredible? In the time of Buddha Shakyamuni, Ananda had a photographic memory. And so everything the Buddha said, so there was no technology other than you had to feed him and take care of him. Anyway, so what we're doing for these first sessions is I'm just reviewing the sadhana in very light terms so that you have a chance to sort of, you watch these videos and get a general idea. In the evening, we'll do the intensive, great detail into each of the components of the sadhana. So to start then, we did do the yoga of sleep, the yoga of awakening, the yoga of tasting nectar. For now, we'll just do the visualizing the merit field, refuge, and bodhicitta. And then we're going to move forward to Guru Yoga, which is where we stopped in the morning. So again, feel that, although it just says, Guru Chakra Samvara and Vajra, it is important to then say, no, really, this is my guru. So the Dalai Lama is in front of me. And you have to check up. I mean, how would it be? How would you sit if the Dalai Lama was there? Sort of like this, or no, you'd sit up nice and straight, or Lama Zopa, or any of your gurus, Garchen Rinpoche, whatever. So feeling it there in the space before you. In the space before me stands Guru Chakra Samvara and Vajrayogini in union, surrounded by the host of root and lineage gurus, yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dakas, and Dharma protectors. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, the glorious Buddhas, from this moment until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. Upon attaining the supreme realization of Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless root suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that, may I practice the stages of Vajrayogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that, may I practice the stages of Vajrayogini's path. May I attain the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that, may I practice the stages of Vajrayogini's path. I bow down and take refuge in the gurus and the three precious gems. Please bless my mind stream. So we arrived at the Guru Yoga. We did finish the taking refuge in the Kusali offering, although I know we talked about it a little bit. I'll do that more in the extensive teachings. We did the mandala offering, and now we're at the lineage prayer of gurus. Okay, I'm sure you're all familiar with the idea of guru devotion, and you see that the guru is the Buddha. And, I've been practicing a long time. And, sometimes it's like, may I not even, it says in some of the teachings and such, may I not even for a moment have a negative thought about my teachers. No problem?
We need to move the camera nearer.
Okay. So may I not even have a moment of negative thought about my guru. Well, I'm not going to, obviously it's not good to have negative thoughts about your teachers, but I'd like to sort of review that because we're all very familiar with, teachers that are now exposed for being abused. There's scandals and things. And so then how do you deal with it? So I want to talk about this a little bit. Okay. So, the example I like to give is that, let's say you need a mortgage. And so you go to the bank. You have no doubts that this person whom you're being interviewed by has the money for your mortgage. So you look at them with complete confidence that they have it. You know, if you qualify, you will get it. So it's fine. So when you look at gurus, I think it's really important to look at what they have, not sort of like their outer body, but rather what they have. So for example, if you look at the guru and they have infinite love, they've opened their central channel, you know, they've realized the clear light consciousness, things like that. Having confidence in that is a self-blessing because you're opening your own mind to that possible realization. You know, you are, let's say you're conscious of that is an ability and such. Also, when you do the more profound meditations, and for example, I mean, in the yoga number 7, I believe, no, yoga number 6, so when you absorb the guru and it becomes one with your bum syllable. If you think about, you know, let's say, I would like to open my central channel, such, and so with your own sort of, you know, your own desire for it, that's fairly strong. But if you have a deep faith that your guru has that, and then you feel that they absorb into you and that they have opened their central channel, there's a lot more ability in opening your central channel. So guru yoga has a great benefit, but to sort of look at the external person saying, oh, you're a Buddha, I find that would be very difficult. Personally, I mean, I can, but I look at them and they have great realization. They have great realization. So then for me, that's very meaningful. You know, that I can believe that they really are, you know, have opened their central channel, have the access to clear light. They can perceive past, present, and future rebirths, things like that. So my point being is that that's the first thing in regards to guru yoga. The second thing is, of course, you can make yourself very paranoid. Like, you know, you have a mundane thought about your teacher. Well, that's one way to look at it. But the more constructive way, you know, and this is, you could, it's just as equally as important and powerful that you've met, you know, a Vajra guru, you've met a guru, and with that connection, you are hooked into becoming enlightened. You know, I mean, there's a joke that says that, you know, if there's a great bodhisattva, you know, a very holy being, and you want to establish a karmic connection and you can't get to them to, you know, to make an offering, well, run up and kick them in the shin. You know, obviously they would immediately start saying prayers for you, but you have a karmic connection. Now, you didn't do it out of anger, you did it out of, hey, I want your attention. Now, I don't recommend doing that, but I'm just saying that if that was the case, that, you know, you want a karmic connection with a guru, then, you know, that connection is much, much stronger than just having some negative thought about your teacher, that they're mundane or they don't have any realization. So these prayers that sort of phrase things in a negative way, you know, for fear, it's sort of sad, because really we should say, you know, okay, I don't totally understand my guru, you know, what he or she does, but I do really believe that they've, you know, accessed their central channel, they've opened it, they have clear light, they have the impure and pure illusory body, they have the example and proper clear light, you know, they have the ability to perceive consciousness, all of those details. And by believing in it from your side, you receive a great blessing because your mind is open to that possibility. So just some thoughts about, you know, in regards to the gurus and such. And the same thing applies to, you know, for precious human rebirth. You know, I explained, you know, yesterday about, you know, precious human rebirth is like you won the lottery ticket of an incredible possibilities, you know, and so get excited about your thing. Now, that same teaching can be used as a fear tactic, you know, like, oh, you have a precious human rebirth, you better take advantage of it, you know, every moment is important, you know, and it's sort of like that type of effect on you. And I'm not criticizing it. Some of us need that to appreciate that, hey, we're losing opportunity. I mean, every moment you're getting closer to death, you know, and so that's one way to think. For some people, they need that. But I personally like to be inspired about my Dharma practice and, you know, to appreciate that, to take advantage of it. So in regards to teachings, you can look at things sort of like negatively, like, oh, if I don't take care of my precious human rebirth, it's such a waste. I'm going to be so, you know, it's so bad of me, you know, and think that's one way to do it. Or you could say, wow, I won the lottery ticket, get excited and use your imagination about winning a lottery ticket and then apply it to your existence. And it's quite funny because, what happens is, I say, oh, I could become enlightened, more or less. What if I won the lottery ticket? Wow, I can spend money, I can do things. Well, try to bring that excitement into your life, precious human rebirth. And as for gurus, that, we do have a relative mind. We do see things sometimes negatively. I mean, all of us, if we were to say that it never happened, to be unrealistic. But think of it more, put emphasis more on, I have a karmic connection with a guru who is, has realizations, even if it's just from my own side that I'm projecting that. Doesn't matter, then that's my blessing. And then, of course, practicing with that type of faith and feeling, very, very powerful. And so you put it in a positive context. So I introduce all of that as we're the prayer of the lineage gurus. Now, again, I will mention some of the gurus are really important when I do the big teaching, but for right now, we will read the thing. It's on page 7 of the text. And for those of you with the text, which says, long Vajra Yogini, edited 2009, there are errors in it because I didn't correct them, but it was only 25 pages long. And for the people attending it physically, it just meant that we didn't have to print something out that was 60 pages long, which would be rather hard on the Dharma Center. So forgive the small errors. So together we will read the lineage prayer. Now remember, what you have in space before you is a large palace, and in the very center is Buddha Vajra Dharma. Then going from that, then is Vajra Yogini, Naropa, and then it does a sort of a spiral around to being in front of you. And again, you then have your root guru directly in front of you. And there will be teachings on that. Then these are the ones that you're doing a prayer to. You feel that they all are attentive to you. So, O Vajra Dharma, Lord of the families of the victorious. O Vajra Yogini, Supreme Consort of the victors. O Naropa, Lord of the Buddha's sons, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O pumping brothers, who hold the teachings of the great secret, share Vase, stores of the secret teaching. O Malosawa, Lord of the sacred mantra, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O great Guru, Ningbo, Vajradhara Lord, O holy Sonam Semo, Supreme Vajra Son, O Karkakausan, crown jewel of the vital holders, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O great Sakya Lord of the Tibetan scholars, O Drobun Shakya Pagpa, crown jewel of the three realms, O Shantan Choje, holder of the Sakya teaching, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Namsa, Lord of the Gurus, O Drobun Choje, best adult and sage, O Yarlimba, Lord of the adepts of the tradition, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. Together, Suchopa, Savior of the self and other beings, Jamyam
Nankam Tsam, great soul Lord, O Shoja Lord Ramgyantsam, great self-master Dharma Lord, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O holy Dorimpa, of unequaled kindness, O master Tenzing Losa, to achieve the Guru's precept. O Kensei, sacred word transmission, great secret keeper, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Lapsum Gyalsam, holder of the mantra sciences, O glorious Wangchung Kratan, Lord of the 100 clans, O holy Kragku, Lord of the Buddha families, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Sarlotsa, Lord of the ocean of mandalas, O Kyenra Pye, Lord of the mandalas, O Nochupa, Lord of the machine of mandalas, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Naisa Sarpa, captain of the ocean of oral transmission, O Losam Pumsok, O Lord Master of the oral transmission, O Tenzin Trinley, sage and increase of those oral teachings, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Lord Kangyu Urpa, upholder of the Ganden teachings, O Ganden Ragay, friend of beings in the dark age, O Dharmakaya, bearer of the Ganden tradition, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Losang Chopa, Lord of Sutra and Tantra, skilled in the old keys of Sutra and Tantra paths, O Jikyang Wampo, sage and glorified, both Sutra and Tantra, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Dechen Tiempo, and the Naropa, who like Naropa, taught us well the keys.
The good path of development and deliverance
of the heavenly Naropa Dakini, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Losang Yeshe, Vajra holder, treasury, of the ripening and freeing teachings of the Vajra Queen, the supreme and quick path to win the Vajra exaltation. I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. By the power of meditation, profound creation stage, Dakini Yoga and perfect stage, central channel yoga. Give me your blessing to conceive ecstatic great bliss wisdom and attain the exaltation of Dakini heaven.
Okay, so just we pause for a second there. So the lineage course comes from Naropa in India through to the Pumping Brothers in Nepal, and you can still actually go to the Pumping monastery, to the small town of Pumping, and in there then there is their actual monastery and such. It still exists. In fact, there's even a cave where supposedly, I believe, Padmasambhava came and left a handprint. So very precious, very holy, and the whole of the Nepalese valley for the Buddhists is all practitioners of Vajrayogini. A little bit different than the way the Tibetans practice, but it definitely is Vajrayogini. So very holy place. Then, of course, it came to Tibet and with the Sakya lineage down, and then finally shifted over to the Gelugpa lineage. So for myself, for example, I mean, many of you online already have this initiation from people like Lama Zopa Rinpoche or maybe the Dalai Lama or other lamas. I received mine directly from Trichang Rinpoche, it's Lobsang Yeshe, Vajra holder. So after Pabanka Rinpoche, it went to Trichang Rinpoche, and then I received it from Trichang Rinpoche first in 1973, and then in various other times over the years when he gave it. I also got it privately from him on occasion as a translator, so I was very lucky. And then from other lamas such as Circum Rinpoche, very special, very holy lama during those years. And then I received also from, as I said, Ludingken Rinpoche of the Sakya lineage, and then of the Kalka Jetsun Dampa of the Dalai Lama, the Dalai Lama of Mongolia. So for me, though, my lineage primarily I focus on Trichang Rinpoche, the Losang Yeshe, and such, and I received it from him. I consider that very, very fortunate. So you have a very close connection, very directly to the great masters. And then, of course, please help me practice the generation stage and the completion stage and such. Now, then you receive the four initiations. Now, when you receive them, of course, you just do Om and Ah and Hum and then the three lights together. But it's very good to remember the actual initiation that you received, which does include both the 5 Buddha families, then the secret initiation, the wisdom, transcendental wisdom initiation, and then finally the word, because those are what these 4 things are. So it says, O Guru, who incorporates all Buddhas, I pray to you, please bless me, please anoint me with fully of the 4 initiations and grant me the exaltation of the 4 bodies. Okay, then it's from the Om in the brow of the Guru. So actually, again, this would be extensive teachings in the nighttime commentary, but you feel that from all of them comes an Om, touches your forehead. And the important thing is it's both fluid and light. I remember that Trichang Rinpoche and Geshe and Darge both put a lot of emphasis to that. They say, don't make it just sort of light, make it more fluid, so you really feel something comes inside of your head. And if you remember the faults of your nervous system is that it's either blocked, it's crooked, or it's dry. And I find that very interesting that that's the actual terms they use coming from 200-300 years ago, because now we know that in the nervous system of your body, I mean, my ability to move my arms, actually what it is that from one cell in a nerve to the next, it's a little fluid shock, a little fluid electricity that goes sort of, it goes down, and I can move my hands. So it's not actually like some electricity, like current. It's like this flow of little nerves transmitting a little electric shock from one to the other, to the other, to the other, all the way down. And then I can move my fingers as I want to and such. So when you look at that, and then you hear that, okay, may my nervous system be humid, like have some moisture to it. Well, it gives some very interesting meaning. Again, I mean, so intriguing that, 2000 years ago, they had these understandings about the nervous system. And then of course being blocked, your nervous system can be blocked because of, some trauma that you have, maybe an accident, or just an emotional issue that you have, then you maybe block your heart. The standard one is that, you have a broken heart, someone hurt you very badly, and then you just don't want to fall in love with anybody. So you could say all of the nerves in your heart chakra, the whether physically or emotionally, they all dry up. So that when you practice Tantra, you want to sort of, let's say, unblock everything and things like that. So it says, my guru, the brow, Om, radiates white light rays of nectar. Okay, so it is fluid. They dissolve into my forehead. They purify the physical obstacles and attain the Vase initiation. Now remember, the Vase initiation is your 5 aggregates being purified. And in the Vajra Tantra, they call the four nectar or 5 nectars are the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and then space or consciousness is considered the other ones. Again, that'll come up in the teachings of the inner offering. But again, you feel that you're with the Vase initiation, you have purified your mundane existence. You've been introduced to your Dharmakaya, your Buddha nature, your most subtle mind. That's where you're coming from. So that's the place of your birth. And so with that association, then you identify with being, Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. And the important thing, though, is instead of sort of saying, I'm from England, I'm from America, I'm from Canada, I'm from Mexico, that's, and with those identifications, no, you identify, I'm coming from Dharmakaya. And so that's how you stop mundane identification. I mean, there is, lots of mundane identifications that we have, but we want to have that we identify with Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. And I think that's a very constructive way to do it. I feel I've got a new birth certificate, and my birth certificate is my most profound nature of my mind, my clear light consciousness, my Buddha nature, and then from that I manifest. And as we described earlier, when in our life we accumulate karmic activity, and so when we die, the mind withdraws to the Dharmakaya, to your Buddha nature, your most subtle mind, and it has the potentiality of the karma, the seeds that you've accumulated. Just the seeds are in that. Then when you come out of the body, it reanimates, and when it reanimates, that's your Bardo body, but it reanimates according to the karma that you accumulated. So whether you're going to be born in a good family or a bad family or whatever, it's because of the karma that you have. And so what you do in Tantra is you try to take control of that, and you remanifest in the Sambhogakaya or Bardo as a Bodhisattva, as a Buddha. And I only always say Bodhisattva simply because I think it's more easy to grasp. To say that you're a Buddha, that's inconceivable, where we all know Bodhisattvas work for the benefit of sentient beings. They have bodhicitta, they have wisdom. And so sometimes that identification just can be more feeling for you. Anyway, so that you go into the Bardo, if you didn't have any practice, and basically just whatever karma you've accumulated reanimates your Bardo body. And with that, then you magnetize yourself to whatever type of parents you're going to get reborn to, and then you arrive at those parents, or you become the third thing, semen and ovum and consciousness. And then, as we talked earlier. So in this case, what we do is we try to say, no, I am the syllable Bam, or I'm a Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya form, whether it could be Manjushri or whatever deity you happen to be more connected to. So anyway, that's the first. Okay, and then you have my guru's throat radiates red nectar light rays. They dissolve into my throat, purify verbal obscurations, attain the secret initiation, blessing the guru's speech and my speech. Now, it says that okay, purifies your throat. Okay, I mean, this part of your throat, that's easy enough to understand. That would be purifying speech. But the secret initiation is you receive the nectars of the Lord and consort. And that purifies all your physical nervous system. So you think, I have the shell of being a deity, so Vajra, but in that I want a clean, pure nervous system, which is the basis for all of my tantric practice. So therefore, you receive that nectar and you feel that all your nervous system becomes very clean and pure. Again, the same things. I mean, not blocked, not crooked, and human. So, but in this case, it's very important because now you don't have the normal identification of being an ordinary person. You are a deity. That was the first initiation. You came from Dharmakaya, you now are seen as a deity. You get the second initiation, then in that deity form, you have pure, channels and energies and such like that, which is receiving the nectar of bodhicitta, red and white bodhicitta from the guru and consort, the Lord and consort. Okay. Now the other thing is the purification of speech and with nectar. And it said of all the real nectars in the world, actually it's more details, but the red light is related with Amitabha, and then Amitabha related with it would go, from whom the faults of color, odor, and potential are cleansed. Becomes nectar. It becomes inexhaustible. That's from Yamataka Tantra, but it's the same thing for Vajrayogini, slightly different elements. But the syllable is related with Amitabha, it's related with purified speech, and it's related with nectar, because it's in the inner offering. It's like, whom purifies the faults of color, odor, and potential. Transforms it to nectar. So what is considered the supreme nectar, the thing that is most beautiful and wonderful to listen to or to experience in your body, is the nectar of the speech of the Buddha. So therefore, there's a more subtle meaning of that the purification of speech is actually your speech gets purified, and then your speech is more meaningful. Like in the initiation, we said that that you should see your speech as mantra. Now, what that really means is that when you say things, they carry some power of the realization, love, compassion, empty of self-existence. That's the teachings of the Buddha Dharma are the nectar for our ears. So that's the syllable Then whom, the heart, from the Guru's heart, whom radiates dark blue nectar rays of light. They dissolve into my heart. They purify the mental obscurations. I attain the wisdom initiation and blessings of the Guru's mind enter my mind. Okay, so that then again, the fluid nectar light goes into your heart as you as Vajrayogini, purifies your mind. Now, again, in the Yamataka Tantra, it's really clear. It says, whom purifies the faults of color, odor, and potential. What that means is it purifies your own biases, your inappropriate way of seeing things. So the purification of your mind is the purification of seeing things as clean, as dirty, as biased, or judgmentally, or whatever. So that's the syllable whom. So in this case, the syllable whom purifies your mind. It's considered to be dark blue in color, and therefore all the mental obscurations of your mind are purified. The wisdom, transcendental wisdom, then this again is that the bliss you feel is to be associated with the understanding of the nature of reality. Now, again, I'm going to talk about this a lot, but I want to go through this because it's really an important facet that if you have, let's say, a normal blissful experience, and you can take anything, like someone strokes your face, or Lama Yeshe would say, you eat a piece of chocolate cake, oh, it's so nice. Your normal mind goes, more chocolate cake, or, touch me again, or we can, whatever, that's bliss that goes to samsara. But what we do with Tantra is you have a blissful thing, and then you go to the voidness. But there's two perspectives on voidness. There's a relative perspective and the ultimate perspective. They are actually the same, just depends how you're looking at them. So when you look at the relative perspective, we're in a vast universal ocean of interdependence. Everything equally interdependent. There's not something's a little bit more interdependent, something's a little bit less. It's all equal, of one taste, to use the words of Milarepa, the one taste of reality. Okay, if you perceive to some extent that ability that all phenomena are equally interdependent, and then you have a feeling of bliss, that's the relative perspective on the nature of reality. Phenomena still are appearing, but you appreciate them as not being independently self-existent. We'll talk about this when we do the teachings, but, and if we use Madhyamika philosophy, it's basically the phenomena are interdependent, both externally or internally, and they're merely labeled. So if you have that appreciation of phenomena are appearing, you appreciate that they're all interdependent, and then you have bliss, you have the transcendental wisdom initiation on a relative perspective. If you then go to the ultimate perspective, that is open like the space of the sky, and you can think of it this way, that if everything, the universe in its nature is of one taste, that means it's empty of any inherent self-existence or independent self-existence. It's a one taste. Then if all of them are equally that, not any one of them can appear more than the other. So if you perceive the nature, you just have to be open like the space of the sky, because not any one of them can stand out more than the other one. So again, if you look at the transcendental wisdom initiation from an ultimate perspective, open like the space of the sky, bliss. Why open like the space of the sky? Because all phenomena are universally equally interdependent, empty of any self-existence. So because they all have the same color or the same taste, how can any one be more obvious than the others? They can't. So in the ultimate perspective, I'm seeing the nature of all phenomena, empty of self-existence. And the example, the analogy for that is open like the space of the sky. I like to make it at 30,000 feet, because that way I don't have too much thing of thinking like the earth's underneath me and the houses around me. I try to make my mind completely open, like space of the sky. So that's the transcendental wisdom initiation, bliss with the understanding of the nature of reality. And as I described before, instead of like having chocolate cake and then saying, I want more, that's samsara. What you have is, whoa, that was really blissful, empty of any self-existence, or a vast ocean of interdependence. You know, don't exaggerate it. So your mind goes to wisdom, bliss to wisdom. It was at Demo Lochen Rinpoche said, when actually Glenn Mullen and I were getting the self-initiation instruction, this is 35, 40 years ago, but anyway, he said, if you have two sticks, and like say in a tree, and the wind is blowing and one is rubbing against the other, if they rub enough, they'll catch on fire and both of them get burned. So that's the analogy that he used to say that if you have bliss, but instead of just saying, this object is the object of my desire, you say, it's the voidness. Those two, the bliss and the voidness together burns, they burn them both, and you end up with the nature of reality. Okay, so that's the thing. And then you have my gurus, 3 places letters, radiate white, red, dark blue, nectar rays of light. They dissolve into my 3 places. They purify my physical, verbal, and mental sins. Sins, actually, again, not a good word, sins, it's sort of negativity. They purify my mental negativity and obscurations. Again, something to be corrected on your own sadhana if you're using the edited in 2009 sadhana. I attained the 4th initiation, the precious word initiation, the blessings of the Guru's body, speech, and mind, enter my body, speech, and mind. And that basically, the word initiation is just telling you what happened in the previous 3 initiations. You attained the transformation of your mundane self. Your 5 aggregates were transformed. You are now the deity. You came from Dharmakaya, and then as Bodhicitta, the wish to benefit, you had then Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. That's the 1st initiation. You now are deity. The 2nd initiation is you purify all the nervous system so that it's clean, clear. All the channels are straight, not crooked, not blocked, and humid. And then within that, then you have the 3rd initiation, the generation of great bliss, with the correct understanding of everything's empty of self-existence. And then finally, the 4th initiation was it all got clarified for you, like why, how it works. And that turns into both the what's called the example clear light, the ultimate clear light, which is the nature of your consciousness, and then the impure and pure illusory bodies. Okay, so again, I'm just reviewing things again because and in these first few sessions, the morning and the afternoon, I want to just go over the sadhana lightly. Again, in the evening, we'll do great detail. I pray to the precious Guru, actuality of the past, present, and future Buddhas. Please bless my mind. Having thus prayed, the encircling lineage Gurus dissolve into my root Guru in the center. Then my root Guru as well, out of his love for me, melts into red light and enters me through the crown, and my heart center transforms into red balm and merges indistinguishably with my mind. Now, at that point, I really recommend you pause. Why? Well, as I said earlier, when you do practice, say, I, Jampa, will meditate on the clear light. I, Jampa, will open my central channel. Okay, so, I have some intensity, I have some desire for that, and so I push a little bit at trying to maybe go inside of the nervous system and my heart chakra and such. But what would happen if well, let's just say, for example, let's use just a mundane example. You have something to do that's really important, like maybe you're going to do or you're going to drive a car for the first time. And I use that example because it's a big thing. It's got lots of power. Can you do it well? Like that. So if you just got in the car and you're going to put it in first gear and try to figure out the clutch, or maybe it's an automatic, like that, that's sort of thing. Well, what would you do if your mother or your father was beside you? Yeah, saying, it's okay, dear, we'll help you do it. And they get you through. You feel so much more confidence, so much more, you're supported, because it's not like they're saying, don't do this and don't do, no, they're saying, I love you. I'm going to support you to learn how to drive this big vehicle, which is very powerful and things like that. So that's just one thought to give you an idea that when you move to sort of, for example, really doing some of these more profound tantric meditations of opening your central channel. Okay, so you go to your heart chakra, but then you feel that, Dalai Lama, Trikshara Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, they have these realizations. They really have that ability. Their consciousness can go to the clear light and come back out without any problem. Okay, so then in my meditation, they're holding my hand. They love me. They want me to have these experiences. So your faith is added to the ability of your meditation capacity. That's extremely powerful. I mean, we all know in Christianity, Jesus said, faith can move mountains. Okay, well, and you say you had to believe in Jesus. Okay, well, we can believe in Jesus. Lama Yeshe believed in Jesus. But we have a tantric guru who maybe has done a lot of retreat and a lot of meditation or something like that. So when you sit there and say, okay, I'm going to meditate now, then all the gurus absorb, and you think all of the lineage gurus and such, and they come in the crown of your head as light, and they go down into your thing, and they become one with the central channel, with the syllable BAM, and then you rest in that, and then you feel, okay, really, Dalai Lama or Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, or whomever you might have great faith in, and sometimes we have faith, a little bit stronger in one area or another, but then feel like they love me, and so I am one. I have deep inside of myself a subtle mind, and I have, like Dharmakaya, Buddha nature, whatever you want to say, it is there. That's incredibly special. So I always recommend, for example, in Mexico, that we pause for a little bit and we really feel that our gurus love us. And it's so funny because sometimes we think, well, they don't love me. They didn't say hello to me. I haven't seen them for a year or two. Well, that's sort of mundane mind getting in the way. We should try to feel that they're always with us. So then we have the sixth yoga, the conversion of death to Dharmakaya. No, where am I at? I'm at 2:40, so 40 minutes. Okay, we'll do a little bit of this. Again, remember, in the evening, there will be extensive teachings, but we'll have to go way back to the immeasurables and such. But right now, we're just reviewing the sadhana. The same bum grows bigger and bigger. Now, this actually is specific. Pabonka Rinpoche changes a little bit. Motra Dharmabhadra didn't do this. Later on, Pabonka Rinpoche did. So it says, the same bum grows even bigger, encompassing the limits of space, revealing all animate and inanimate objects as the bliss void reality. Okay, that's the Sakyapa and the original in the Gelupa. Again, gradually it contracts from its limits to become an extremely subtle bum syllable, which gradually dissolves above and below into the nitty drop. And again, Ananda becomes imperceivable, the truth body of bliss void indivisibility. Om Sunyata Yana Vajraswabhakoham. I'll just do it lightly. First off, Pabonka did have a good reason for that. I heard Sakya Treason give this teaching, and he just said, okay, you make your mind really, really, really big, and then just everything just evaporates, and you rest in that open spaciousness of the mind, which is great. I mean, it's a very, very powerful way to do it. Pabonka, though, said, no, but we're trying to get our mind inside of our central channel. We're trying to open the indestructible dot that's inside of our central channel, and that'll be discussed when we talk about the completion stage practices in yoga number 9, yoga number 9. Okay, so he said, okay, yes, we had a big mind, but then pull it back into your heart chakra, another very subtle womb, and then go to the void. So Pamaka wasn't wrong. I think actually in some ways it's quite accurate. But there are the two traditions. I mean, I am teaching from Mulcher Dharma Vajra's point of view. So just to say you go to the being the thing. Now, one thing, the way that I understand this, and this is sort of really a Jampa commentary, I want to identify it that way, is that what you do is you feel the bum syllable expands. But if phenomena are still appearing, whether it's this room, the carpet, the walls, then to the house, then to the street, then to the city, and then to the planet, and then to the solar system, and then to the universe, like that's the way you should feel this bum syllable expands. That you look at it, the nature. So why? Because you're going to get an association that's really beneficial. Phenomena are still appearing, but they're like a 3D image in a movie. Remember, if you take your glasses up, you don't see the image anymore. It's back on the screen, but you put it down, suddenly this, the shark or whatever, it's the one I saw, is swimming above you, and it gives you goosebumps. Okay, so our delusion is with the 3D glasses on. When we see things in reality, it's the 3D glasses are up. Okay, so using that analogy, all the phenomena look like they are independently self-existent, but we just pervaded them with the syllable vam. And so we're touching the nature of all these phenomena that are still appearing, but we appreciate they're merely mentally labeled. So you could still have like chair, table, wall, house, planet Earth, the moon, the sun, everything like that. But it's all in that sort of one taste of reality. And it's in the nature of bliss and voidness, bliss. Remember, you're doing a relative perspective on the nature of reality. Phenomena still are appearing, but you're seeing them in a correct manner. It's all interdependent, empty of any self-existence, but they're still appearing merely labeled. And so my mind rests in the bliss with this appreciation. That's the first part of this thing. Like the bum symbol expands to encompass the whole of the universe. You could rest in that for 4 or 5 minutes because you're resting in a relative perspective that all phenomena are equally empty of an inherent existence, independent existence, and I'm blissful. So you stay there for a while. Then you can feel that all this phenomena then, with the essence of bum pulled back and everything disappears. Now that's where then for me, I go to 30,000 feet because I don't want any physical phenomena around me. I want my consciousness to have a really nice sense of spaciousness. And then I have the bottom part of the bum goes into the head into the crescent moon into the dot into the 3 lines of the squiggles. You're tying that together with the 8 visions of time of death, which again, we'll do that on the extensive teachings. And then you rest in that. And as Lama Yeshe often said to me, he said, when you are in that clear light consciousness, so again, the example, 30,000 feet. Okay, you can be, I am looking at 30,000 feet of space. Okay, but then you try to make that non-dual. You try to say, I am the open space of the sky, 30,000 feet. And it's very subtle. So again, how I like to think of it is, okay, I'm starting to get very, very subtle. I have, air, atmosphere, and then I can go to sort of the molecules of, oxygen, nitrogen, and whatever it might be. Then I go to the atoms and protons and neutrons and whatever, and then you can say go on to the quarks. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to sort of like more subtle, more subtle, more subtle. And then finally, I just rest in this open space of the sky. Unbelievably subtle mind, so peaceful. It's inside of your heart chakra. Geshe Rapton often said, if you even get a little bit close to your central channel, you'll find it gets peaceful. Your mind gets very calm because you're sort of inside the nervous system. Okay, so then you stay in that state of consciousness, then you identify, you have the identification, this is my Dharmakaya, my most subtle mind, you say it's my soul, which is bliss and voidness, bliss and empty of any self-existence. You say I am the fabric of reality, but I'm the fabric of an incredibly subtle thing. In fact, so subtle, it's not a something. Like Heart Sutra, form here is only emptiness, emptiness is only form, form is no other than emptiness, and no other than form, feeling, thought, and choice, consciousness, and self are this. Okay, but the other factor that you might want to consider is that it's merely a designation. So the example is, if the planet Earth was moving through space, space doesn't get out of the way of the planet Earth. Rather, space is just, it's a designation on non-obstruction. So you cannot say space is a something. Space is merely non-obstruction, and you've labeled it, you've identified it. Voidness is like that when you are that open space of the sky, the most subtle mind, the Dharmakaya, it's intriguing to try to say, it's merely, it's not a something. I'll leave it up to you to play with the ideas. I mean, that's the whole objective of, path of preparation, path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing. These are the 5 paths. The path of seeing is where you have a direct, non-intellectual perception of the nature of reality. So we're working towards that. That's both Sutra and Tantra. But in this case, we add bliss to this in the tantric practices. And it is working off the nervous system. So like I said, it's like acupuncture. Rather than just sort of generally massaging your mind with the understanding of voidness, you're touching a nerve, which is going to heal you really fast. And that's the acupuncture nerve of the heart chakra, opening that and having an experience of clear light. So that's the Om Sanyata Yana Vajraswama Hum. Om Sanyata Yana, the Om is my body, speech, and mind are integrated. Sanyata is wisdom, Sanyata is the nature of reality. Jnana is the wisdom. Vajra is indestructible. Sobo and nature, Atmo Koha or Atmo Kohom is then that I am that. So if you translate it backwards, I am the indestructible Vajra nature of the wisdom of voidness. And Om is it's all integrated. So then you rest in that. So it's Lama Yeshe used to always say, he said, just say that mantra. It's Om, one of them is this Om Sobawa Shudo Sarva Dharma Sobawa Shudo Hum. Or it's Om Sanyata Yana Vajraswamako Hum. And you just say it and then you say, okay, I'm in reality. I'm in the realm of reality. And that's where we're going to stop today, because again, we're going to do this each day. Okay, so again, I want us just to meditate on the things. So Guru Yoga, we talked about the lineage gurus. I didn't do details, but we have an incredibly good lineage, a living lineage from Naropa, or from Buddha Shakyamuni, the Heruka Tantra. And in Naropa, with a direct experience with all of his incredible wisdom and such, he touched his soul, he touched his Dharmakaya, and it appeared as Vajrayogini. Then it went to the Pumping Brothers, went to Nepal, living lineage. It was transferred in a living manner to the great Sakyapa masters who all had profound experiences. It was called one of the golden teachings of the Sakya lineage. And at some point down the road, it then came over to the Galupa practice. Then one of the great masters for us is Ngultru Dhamma. It said that Ngultru Dhamma in his explanations of the Dakini Tantras was so good that the Dakinis were a little angry with him because he made it too simple to understand. So that's the lineage we're receiving. And of course, then it comes down to Vabanka, and then finally Trichang Rinpoche, the tutor of the Dalai Lama, credible Heruka practitioner. Linga Rinpoche was recognized as the manifestation for Yamataka. Trichang Rinpoche was recognized as the manifestation of a Heruka, and particularly the inner essence of that Vajrayogini. So again, just think about, wow, we're so lucky to have such a good lineage, good practitioners. Then think about that, okay, if the guru became one with my mind, how would that, where's my faith? Because if I have some feeling about my gurus, it'll be a powerful experience. They love me. They want to be one with my mind. They want to help me gain realization. As much as you have faith and love in your guru, it's such a beautiful, warm experience. Then you had the blessings of Oma, Hom, and the 3 together, the 3 initiations. There's a lot of material. So that's why I say we're going to meditate for at least 15 minutes. Take a comfortable posture. I leave it up to you. I might interject a little bit as we sit and meditate. So, a living lineage that never got broken. Gurus and their energy became one with my mind. I do it within the context of the 4 initiations, the Vase, the secret, the wisdom, and the word. As we continue to meditate, I'd like you to think about the going to Dharmakaya. Death is Dharmakaya, but just for starters, establishing sort of an idea of what's open like the space of the sky. It's your standard Mahamudra meditation. So the thought could be is just, okay, all phenomena are equally empty of self-existence. They're all of one taste. So how can any one phenomena stand out higher than any other phenomena? It's not possible when you're viewing the nature of reality. All phenomena empty of self-existence. And so with that, then just all phenomena evaporate. And your mind is resting in the nature of reality, empty of self-existence. No phenomena can appear because you're focused on their nature, which is always one for all phenomena. And that is being open like the space of the sky, 30,000 feet. All universe is wide open. Just like space is non-obstruction, it's not a something. The voidness is not a something. It's the nature of reality. The analogy often given is like the thoughts and feelings we have are like clouds in the space of the sky. They blow through, but the space of the sky never gets changed. Whether it's a white cloud or a dark cloud, the nature of the sky is clear, open. We use analogies to get ourselves closer to the actual reality. Lama Yeshe said that when you first start looking at trying to see reality, it's like you have a set of glasses on and the glass is very thick. That's your conceptuality about the nature of reality. As you continue to practice, get a better understanding, the glass of your glasses gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And finally, when your conceptuality is so good, so refined, not as something, you could say an appreciation, like non-obstruction, empty of self-existence, you finally take the glasses off and you have a direct perception of the nature of reality. But we must remember that the appearance of relative phenomena is not contradictory to being open to the space of the sky. Or again, in the Heart Sutra, form here is only emptiness, emptiness is only form, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, feeling, thought, and choice, consciousness and self are this. All of these are empty, etc. So allow phenomena to manifest again, A good way to sort of help your mind stabilize is that I am immersed in atmosphere. It's completely around me. I'm swimming in it like I'm at the bottom of a swimming pool. It's touching all sides of my body. Not only like that, it's just I inhale, it's coming inside my body. I am immersed, penetrated. I'm functional, but empty of any self-existence. And I have a good heart, the heart of a bodhisattva. May I be of benefit. So just as a stick of incense doesn't have an intentionality, but by its merely burning, it makes the air smell nicer. When I say the incense has no intentionality, it means its nature is to make things beautiful, but it goes wherever is necessary, wherever the wind blows it. So in whatever situation we find ourselves, we are completely interdependent. May we be of benefit. So we've concluded today's class. Again, just a review of the sadhana bit by bit. So again, dedicate with positive thought, such as by my effort attending this class today, maybe I attended this morning class, for all that effort that I did attending, trying to be mindful in things, I dedicate that to a more enlightened life, to finally becoming enlightened. And what's the meaning of that? What's the significance of that? May I be of benefit. May our great teachers, such as Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa, all the great masters that exist, may they live long and healthy lives, helping us sentient beings. And finally, may the conflicts of the world, wherever they are, may they be resolved in peaceful ways. Okay, so thank you very much. That concludes this class on the meditations. My tech fell asleep.
Thank you.